Everybody that's anybody in the music business performed live from Studio A.
It's Columbus radio at its finest.
They like it. That's where the support comes from.
I love WCBE, and I can't imagine Columbus without it.
And tonight at Natalie's, we will, it'll be three folks tonight, two joining us this afternoon, Dan Navarro and Lynn Madera. Hi, welcome to WCBE.
Hi, Maggie.
It's great to meet you guys, and we've got some tickets to give away for the show tonight. They'll be joined by Alice Peacock later on, and a 9 o'clock showtime, 8 o'clock seating starts. Details at nataliesgrandview.com. Well, we're going to hear a song each, and then the duet that they did that's on Jesse's album, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll share some stories in between that. And I'm so happy to meet Dan after all these years.
It's been a long time.
We've been knowing your music and from 30 years plus. So
Jesse is newly minted, and I'm the old dude. My music was first on CBE in 1990.
Yeah, it's nuts. And, well, you're not getting older, you're getting better.
I'm having fun.
Yeah. Well, let's have some fun today and do a couple giveaways. After this first one, are you going to start it off with?
Well, we were thinking about, is it okay if we do the duet first?
You can do whatever you want,
I
guys.
think we were going to do that.
All right.
Last call of the evening, first call of the morning. Once upon a lion, once upon a hummingbird, once upon the waves and a full moon at the shore. Do you build the walls? Would your castle fall? And do your graves recall the shape of me at all? Your tragedy. Notice me, you never notice me, but I'll still be the first calling the morning. When we were young, those old boats would come. I could have jumped on one, but I wanted. Last call of the evening, first call of the morning. I would have been a better man. Oh, honey, I'm a warrior. You love me in a way you don't admit to anymore. You laid out my skin for me. You climbed in right next to me, and you told me who to be. Well, that's what you asked for. Your tragedy, mindless of me. Notice me, you never notice me, but I'll still be the first call in the morning. When we were young, those old boats would come, and I should have jumped on one, but I won't. Last call of the evening, first call of the morning. Your tragedy, mindless of me.
So great. So it is Last Call, and it is Jesse Lynn Madera and Dan Navarro with us live from Studio A this afternoon. We're also live on Facebook and YouTube if you're tuning in and want to watch it as well. And tonight's the show over at Natalie's. After the next two songs, we'll give away a pair of tickets. It's a song that's on Jesse Lynn's second album that was just released in March, and the duet and co-write with Dan Navarro. When did you first cross paths, and when did you decide to work together? Was it a sudden thing or years later?
It was sudden.
Sudden-ish. I did a show in Los Angeles at McCabe's Guitar Shop, the legendary place, in September of 22. And I'd had a conversation with her manager, and she was wanted me to recommend a studio. So I recommend Jim Scott's studio, where I did my last album and the first 4 Loner Navarro records. And then Jill said, "Okay, well, do you want to play on it?" I went, "Sure." And she said, "Great. You want to produce it?" I went, "You don't need me, but you got Jim." And it was to do 2 songs, including especially a remake of Unchained by Johnny Cash that my friend Jude Johnstone wrote. Well, so we went into the studio, and it grew from there. We started out with 2 songs, and it turned into Jim and I co-producing the whole album.
Wow.
Went from there.
You were like, "I'm not leaving. This is kind of cool. I like I
Yeah,
like
it
this
felt like
collaboration."
home. Yeah.
Well, tell us. You mentioned Jim Scott, and that seems like a natural thing after all these years, right?
Well, he had done our first 4 albums. Jim is a legend to me. He engineered Tom Petty's Wildflowers, won Grammys for mixing Times Like These for Foo Fighters, and did a bunch of Wilco records, Kathleen Edwards, Tedeschi Trucks, a really renowned engineer and producer. And I went back to him. He did the final Loner Navarro record in 2008 before Eric retired, a few years before he passed. And when it was time to go back in for my second solo album, I decided I wanted to go home. And that underscores, because it did feel like going home and being home to work together. The 3 of us were a brain trust that really massaged this entire record into a thing of beauty.
That's so cool. And another song that we love is Austin.
Yeah.
And you were born, right? You were born in West Virginia.
That's right.
But then the Houston raised.
Yeah,
so it's kinda,
that's right. Yeah.
Kind of goes along with the state, obviously, of what you're talking about. And it's kind of a power ballad.
It was in Houston that I used to sneak out of, but LA rhymes better. On the record, the song length, I think, is 432, right? And that was the first 3 digits of my phone number, 432. 713-432-0208 in Houston.
Isn't that
So
funny?
I thought that was a cute little thing.
It is. It is. It's
yeah.
funny how we remember our phone numbers from
Every
when you
single
were a
one of them.
child.
Yep.
But no numbers today. Isn't that
Right.
funny? Yeah.
But you still, it's fascinating. I'm like, I know the area code, but
Right.
that's all I got. I got to
Well,
look up.
I'm a little older than Jesse. My first phone number was 9.
You're not that much older. Come on.
But no, we joke around. We laugh constantly. That's one of the beauties of this.
Having a lot of fun
we always
on the
say we have a
road.
lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
Well, he's funny. He comes up with all kinds of stuff. I got a dad joke book from Cracker Barrel. By the way, this dress is from Cracker
It's
Barrel. I got
lovely.
it a couple of days ago.
They've got some fun stuff there. They really do.
Yeah, they do. And I got a dad joke book from there because I'm trying to keep up with him, and I just don't work as fast. He says some crazy stuff.
My clothes came from probation and parole.com. It was,
Well, tell us how this journey started for you. Did it start in the Houston area?
Well, it really started all the way back when I was a little kid. I just it was kind of clear to my family that I was going to end up doing this. I was surrounded by music. I had a second cousin who would come over, and she would get on the piano, and her older sister would stand above her, and they'd be singing in this, that term blood harmony. They're just so close together. Like when you see dogs walking together, how their like little butts will go right along with each other. And I would just look at them. I mean, I was only 2 or 3 years old, but I was in awe of them and in awe of piano players for some reason. All this time has gone by, and I still play the piano and not the guitar. But it's probably because of that. That's where the seed was planted.
That's cool.
And my first favorite song on this planet was "We Belong."
Right, and so before Lynn and Navarro, there was
Yeah.
that little
There was
record.
that,
Well, and
that
I'd
little
heard
singer
Pat-
named Pat Benatar, exactly.
Yes, I'd heard the Pat Benatar version because my grandma would plop me down in front of MTV, and I was watching Pat Benatar. And when people would ask me what I was going to be when I grow up, I was 3 years old. I go, Pat Benatar. And so when my manager was telling me I should get together with Dan, she goes, and by the way, he wrote that song "We Belong" for Pat Benatar, and I just went, what? and so that first time that we met at McCabe's, I went up to him and I'm trying to convey this to him, but it's kind of like saying I love you. You know, just nobody's really going to know how you really feel because it's so overused. He gets, you know, "We Belong" was my favorite song all the time, and I'm going, no, really, it really, really, really was. It was everything. It was kind of the reason. If my cousins were the seed, that was the water or the soil. I don't know.
And what's interesting about that, too, I mean, yeah, I've been around the block, and people do say stuff like that. But one of the things I noticed about Jessie Lynn immediately was the deep undercurrent of sincerity. Now, she's not naive. She wasn't born yesterday. In other words, she's streetwise without being world-weary. But the sincerity was from the get-go. And that is one of the reasons both Jim and I just went, we have to do this. Wouldn't it be nice if we did more? Oh, we're going to do more. Isn't that cool? Yes.
I know. I couldn't leave. That couldn't be it. Two songs couldn't be it. That's for sure.
Well,
yeah.
It's so cool how,
true.
I mean, those years later, you are working with the guy, the writer of your favorite song of all time.
And he agreed to write a song with me that we just, last fall. So.
And there'll be more. There will be more. I'm afraid she's not getting rid of me now.
It's a done deal. How did you connect with Pat Benatar?
That was a normal publisher submission. We didn't know her. It ended up in a box of tapes that went to her, and she pulled it out of the box like a lottery ping pong ball. And our lives were changed forever. It's been amazing. And like a lot of things, I mean, you've spent your life in radio, and I was actually used to be married to a radio promotion person. So I understand. I've been around radio stations for, over 30 years, 35 years now. Things go up, things go down, things happen and they don't. But this has been one of those perennials. It's a gift that keeps on giving. And it's led to me being able to keep doing this crazy job for far longer than I ever thought I would. Luckily, not longer than I like it, because I still like it. It's still fun to get in a car and go, let's go, and drive places. I did a podcast this morning in Ypsilanti, Michigan, before I got on the highway to come here. That's living.
And we are living it up here today, having the both of you in the studio, Jessie Lynn Madera and Dan Navarro. If you're just joining us, the show is tonight at Natalie's with Alice Peacock. Where's she? Why isn't she?
Alice, she's probably on her way in. Alice lives in Cincinnati, so she's close by, and I think she's just shooting in, doing the show, and then going home. We are playing in tomorrow in Indianapolis.
Okay.
And so it's really kind of easier for her to just satellite out and go home.
I gotcha.
That's going to be so fun to play with Alice.
Oh,
She's so
totally.
great.
Well,
We wish you were here, Alice.
we wish you were here, Alice. Alice opened for Lynn and Navarro in the OOs in Chicago, where she was originally from, and did one of our last huge shows in Chicago, where we had a gang of friends come on and sing with us. So she's a dear friend. We all do the same festivals. We all have the same agent, to be perfectly honest. So we're all buddies, and this is really fun.
And it's so fun to have you here today. And we've got two more songs. Two more songs to go, and we're going to hear Austin. And I think, are you going to go next with this?
We're going to save that one for last.
Okay.
Kind of hard to follow that song.
He's a closer, yeah.
It kind of is.
He's going to be kind to me. And let
If I had a buck for every time I've done in the rounds or I'm opening for somebody bigger and they go, for God's sake, you're going to make us follow that song?
Yeah.
Or ladies first. How about that?
Yeah, that's what we got.
Absolutely.
Will you play with me on this?
Of course. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Will you start it? Just outside of Austin, there's a room I could get lost in. Oh, open my eyes one day, make the miles back to LA. Yeah. Oh, we touch
tonight. He's sitting up in the moonlight, wishing on a starlight. And I'm moving my ears to the songs on the radio. He's moving his lips to the songs on the radio. Oh, I know I'm not the only one, but I have seen the evidence. Don't bother asking if it's love. I don't even have the question. Now, because it kisses like the warm breeze through the cedar elm trees. It got me at 180 before we even hit the main street. Yeah, come on, baby, take me in the backseat. I'm gonna get to Oscar tonight. He's sitting up in the moonlight, wishing on a starlight. And I'm moving my hips to the songs on the radio. Yeah, he's moving his lips to the songs on the radio. Oh, won't you move those lips for me, baby? I'm moving my hips for you, baby. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Move those lips for me, baby. Oh, I'm moving my hips for you, baby. For you, baby. For you, Sitting up in the moonlight. He's wishing on a starlight. Oh, I'm moving my hips to the songs on the radio. Moving his lips to the songs on the radio. Oh, he's got me moving my hips to the songs on the radio. Yeah. He's moving his lips to the songs on the radio. WCBE. With Maggie Brennan.
Nice. That's awesome. Jesse, Lynn, Madera, and Dan Navarro together. That was the song Austin, and it's on our latest album. And tonight's the show at Natalie's. Let's do our first giveaway for caller number 3 at 614-821-9223. 821 WCBE. And they'll be joined by Alice Peacock tonight, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Seating begins. And, well, Dan's latest album came out just a couple years ago, right?
Came out about a year and a half ago. Horizon Line came out a year and a half ago, mostly inspired by why am I still doing this? And I do it because I love it. That's the title track, what that's about.
Yeah, and Jim Scott on this one, or no? Producing.
Horizon Line.
Oh, I do Horizon Line, and the set is on the current album. It's the title track of my current album.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's basically I can't slow down. My wheels are turning. Don't matter if I'm wasting time. Going to set my sights on the next Horizon Line.
I love it.
And so it's about keeping going. And I address that to my musician friends, my pro athlete friends, people in radio. When people go, what are you still doing this for? Well, because everything else is terrible compared to this. And everybody I know in radio, and quite a few people, still love it. Mm-hmm. They still love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm buddies with Dana Steele from KLOL in Houston, in fact.
Oh,
She's Houston, KLOL in Houston. Legendary DJ, is a buddy of mine for a long time. Nicole Sandler, Dennis Constantine.
Nicole Sandler, yeah.
I just had dinner with Nicole Sandler a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And all of that is still fun.
Mutual friends there. That's cool. Well, tell us, before Pat Benatar, what were you doing before that song?
Well, I had been a singer-songwriter out there, and a little of this and a little of that. I had a couple songs on records in the late 70s, and then nothing happened. And I was working for Tower Records, and I got a job as a singing waiter, which was actually like we would do contemporary songs. They didn't want to hear originals. And I'm sitting there going, this is the bus station. This is the end of the line. It's a dead-end job. And then I met Eric Lowen there, which changed everything. We started writing together. We started singing together. Got very lucky with our songs with Pat Benatar and the Bangles and Dave Edmunds and Dionne Warwick and the Four Tops and David Lee Roth. And then, boom, we decided to start a duo when we figured, well, nobody cares anyway. Let's just do what we love, and got signed up.
Yeah.
And started making records in 1990 and managed to continue to make records for 18 years. And we would still be going if he hadn't gotten sick and retired. He did pass on in 2012. I never would have gone solo, although I always threatened to, and I got mad at him. I'm going solo. But I went solo in 06. He retired in 08 and did that little overlap. And then I hit the road on my own, and there you go.
Keep going strong. Tell us a little bit more about the singing wait.
Well, it was a restaurant that decided there's about 12 minutes between when you put the order in and when it comes up. Grab a guitar and sing. And a lot of people actually, Cindy Lee Berryhill worked there. Ricky Lee Jones had worked at the larger one in Santa Monica. Peter Tork worked at the one in Santa Monica. Lee Ving from Fear worked at our outlet.
That's so fun.
Robert Romanus, the guy who played Damone in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the ticket scalper, worked there as a cook. We all took out a row when the movie came out, and we're all sitting there cheering our friend on. It was that kind of thing.
Does it still exist?
No, it closed up in the early 80s. Eric managed it into the ground, and it closed around 83, 84, right around the time We Belong was coming out. And, I worked in advertising for a while because I needed a day job. And frankly, We Belong was written while I was working my day job. And I decided maybe it was time to quit music because it wasn't working. I hadn't reached what I had reached in the 70s with those songs.
But I imagine that paid a bill or two.
Or three. I mean, it's actually massive uptick in the last 5 years. It's in commercials and movies all the time. Well, the people that were 20 when it came out are 60 now because it's been 40 years since that. It's weird to think it's been 40 years since that song came out.
And a younger generation loving it too.
It is,
Not
and
like
so
the Beatles. I mean, completely different, but in terms of
nothing touches the Beatles, but the reminiscence is part of it. The fact that it's about hanging. I mean, We Belong is not about a successful relationship. People can put it in weddings, and I'm kind of going, dudes, it's about a bad relationship, but the person still believes, and that aspect of having hope when things aren't good is universal, and we could use a big dose of that right about now. So it's come back. My thing is I still like getting out there and singing the new songs and helping new talent and being connected. I would go ape if I had to sit at home. I would not. It doesn't suit me. Repose is not my friend.
You were meant to do.
I was meant to, and I wanted this since I was 9 years old, which is 26 years, and it's 26 years. No, it's not. I mean, look.
That deadpan.
No, the worst part about it is I don't talk about my age publicly, but it's on Wikipedia. You can go find it. It's not a secret, and I'm frankly proud. I mean, I earned every line in my face, and I earned everything. I mean, I had less gray hair than I should. I've had a really, really good time, and sometimes I get to have an even better time. Producing Jesse Lynn was like a dream come true. I dug deep into my bag of aesthetics, and so did she, and so did Jim. We were all in charge. We all wanted to create a record that spoke to what she felt, and frankly, it was the same team as made my record only a year before, and so it was getting to do it again. I have a feeling that, because I think Jill listened to the record and said, this is all new music and it feels like it's been around forever. And, so toward that end.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
I wanted it to sound
timeless.
Timeless.
And, it's a lot of people are working on sounding timely, and I get that. Great little song that all of a sudden has some weird sounding guitars that are intentionally out of tune, and it's hip. And I support that. But that's not what I do. Right. And she wanted what we do, and I think she hit it out of the park.
Absolutely. It's Dan Navarro and Jesse Lynn Madera with us this afternoon. Tonight's the show at Natalie's, And coming up, they'll have another song for us, and we'll do our another giveaway. 8 p.m. doors or seating, and 9 o'clock showtime. And how did you get into the voice acting?
In some ways by accident. There was a period when the We Belong money had diminished, and a buddy of mine from college called me up and said, "You want to sing a jingle in my garage for $100? Part of my mantra, just get up and do it. It was a 35-mile drive each way. There were no residuals on it. It was a $100 buyout. But I met somebody on the session who was contracting Spanish language commercials and other vocals. She liked what I did and called me to do a session for Miller Beer, and it worked, and I started working a lot. Then all of a sudden it morphed into film work. One day a client calls for a Toyota spot, and I said, "So what am I singing?" They said, "Now we're going to make you the voiceover. Los Toyota del 95 ya están aquí."
So good.
And it was in Spanish. So I found my niche. It expanded from there a little at a time. An old friend of mine called me one day and said, "Do you want to do WALA," which is basically unidentifiable group voices, on an animated series? Doesn't pay much, but it is union. I did it. Show got canceled. 2 years later, the show came back. I got hired again, and that's Family Guy. I've done 250 episodes of Family Guy, 225 of American Dad. I'm on Invincible for Amazon Prime now, doing screaming when bombs are coming and superheroes are breaking out buildings. And I've done some character, and I sang in Encanto, I sang in Coco. It kind of grew from just willingness and opportunity.
Rango. Were you?
I didn't do Rango.
Oh, wait,
I didn't do
no.
Rango.
Jeez,
That was another friend of yours.
Shut up, Jesse. It was my husband. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
you know,
sorry.
well, we discovered we were making the record, and somebody calls me and says, "We Belong" is in this show called Acapulco on Apple Plus, and I go and watch it, and her husband Hemke Madera is in the same scene as the song. Dude, I'm from California. I say "dude" to everybody. Yeah,
We're not from California. We say it here. In
well, I call my son "dude." I call my girlfriend "dude," dude, and especially because it's the all-purpose word. It can express pleasure, displeasure, frustration, fear, dude. Or dude.
Bruh. Well, sometimes it slips. They're like, bruh.
Bruh, yeah. So anyway, but yeah, all this is to say that opportunities came up. I took swings. I've been very, very fortunate. I actually did an episode of Invincible on Monday from my hotel in Washington, D.C. I could do it remotely.
So you could just do it in your phone and send it?
Oh, I actually do it. I have high-quality
studio.
gear that I carry with me.
Cool.
I went into a mixer.
Dan, did you mention Puss in Boots? Because that
Puss in
is
Boots, The Last
major.
Wish was,
That's
oh
not
my
mine.
God. I sing. This is the end, amigos, sí, el fin de todo lo que está de pie. A very elaborate plans and doing an accent that I don't really possess. Imagínate cómo será. And they wanted that.
So good.
And I don't ever really know what's next. And life is a rich pageant of surprises all the time. But I'm going to try and swing hard and help my friends. I've always worked that way. And it's been a good time.
Well, we appreciate you and
Thank you.
what you've done over the years, and you as well, Jesse. Congratulations on this new one.
Oh, thank you so much.
And we'll do another giveaway. So give us a little Encanto.
Oh, my God, from Encanto, that was, well, I sang backups on We Don't Talk About Bruno.
Yeah.
It was my wedding day. We were getting ready, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. Bruno came in with a mystical grin and said, "Thunder, are you telling the story, am I?" Bruno says it looks like rain. Feeling good, it does my brain. And I sang, I was going, oh, we don't talk about Bruno. What about Isabella? What about Maribel? And I had no idea what it was going to sound like in place. I flew home from dates on the road to do the sessions, because I will do that, spend $500 to make 1,000, because you get in the room and you get the residuals. And I had no idea until I got there. I'm looking at the score and it says Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm going, oh my God. But it was during the tail end of COVID in mid-21. So he was in the studio. We never saw him. But it sure was fun. And it was my third Oscar winner, which is even weird. Those words can't come out of my mouth.
That's amazing.
I've just had a good time, and I just keep. A lot of it is willingness, and the skill set comes when you're realizing if I don't come up with it, I'm going to look bad and I'm going to sound bad, and you find it. You find it.
Oh, good.
So this is what we do.
Willingness, talent, and likability.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
That's your trio right there.
Now shut up and sing. No.
Well, thank you both. It's been a pleasure.
Thank
so
you
much
for
fun.
having
It's a joy to get to finally be here after years of Lynn and Navarro music on the air here to finally come through. Well, should we do it? Let's do the big, I close my shows with this, and you'll hear it tonight if you come on down. 20 times I tried to tell you, 20 times I cried alone. Always I'm surprised how well you cut my feelings to the bone. Don't want to leave you really, just want to break the ice. Do I look silly to you when I yield to your advice? When you say we belong to the light, we belong to the thunder, we belong to the sound of the words we've both fallen under. Whatever we deny or embrace, or worse or for better, we belong, we belong, we belong together. Jesse?
Maybe it's a sign of weakness when I don't know what to say. Maybe I just wouldn't know what to do with my strength anyway. Have we become a habit? Do we distort the facts? There's no looking forward,
And there's no turning back. We belong to the light, we belong to the thunder, we belong to the sound of the words we've both fallen under. Whatever we deny or embrace, or worse or for better, we belong, we belong, we belong together.
close your eyes and try to sleep
Close
now.
your
Close
eyes,
your eyes and try to dream.
try to dream.
Clear your mind and do your best
your
to try and
best.
wash the palate clean.
Wash it clean.
We can't begin to know it,
How much we really care.
I hear your voice inside me,
And I see your face everywhere now. I say we belong to the light, we belong to the thunder, we belong to the sound of the words we've both fallen under. Whatever we deny or embrace, or worse or for better, we belong, we belong,
we belong,
we belong together. We belong,
to the light, we belong to the thunder.
we
We belong to the sound
belong.
of his words, we both fallen under.
Whatever we deny or
embrace, for worse or
embrace,
for better,
we belong,
we belong together.
we belong, we belong.
How fun was that? That is.